Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, proudly presents to you another fantastic episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom. That's right, that's where we find one wrestling fan that stands out from the rest, put the spotlight on them, and find out what wrestling means to them, why they love wrestling so much, and great moments they've experienced as a fan. So, with that being said, in the first corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. And whenever he goes to Taco Bell, he asks for a chief burrito because he's made of chicken and beef. Everybody, welcome to the show, Rob Bass. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. At the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, repping 592, living in the 718, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about us tonight. It's actually about our special guest, who is 1/5 of the Black Rasslin Podcast. This group of individuals have actually been doing a lot of great things, not just for the wrestling community, but for the Black wrestling community as well, having their own top 50 or I think top 100 Black wrestlers in the wrestling world. Everybody, welcome to the show. A man who is also one half of Something Else podcast with one of our past guests, alumni guests, Lola Blue or Lovey Laveau, and also 1/3. I forgot what the other name of the other podcast is, but we'll get to that in a second. Everybody, welcome to the show, fam.
Woo! Thanks for having me. It's great to be anywhere. I appreciate you, man.
No problem, man. Hey, fam, we really appreciate you, taking time out of your busy schedule to be on our show. You guys have been on our radar for a hot minute, and we're finally getting around to it. Sorry it took so long, but stuff happens, man. Stuff happens.
Oh man, it's always something going on in the community, the pro wrestling, podcasting, interneting community. There's always something going on, so I completely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. But hey, better late than never. We made it happen. So how's everything on your end, man? What neck of the woods are you in?
So I'm in Maryland. I'm a Maryland guy, born and bred. You know what I'm saying? So if you talk about the original DMV, it would be Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. So you know what I mean? That's my homie right there.
Yeah, I was about to say you just made Rob smile because Rob, he's over there in Delaware, with the Briscoes and the rest of them, and he's doing his referee thing over there. So yeah,
Maryland's like a mile down the road right over here. I drive a mile, I'm in Maryland.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, man. So yeah, so y'all got MCW and whatnot over there. MCW.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only one I know. I don't know.
Well,
I think
there's MCW. I think C3W, which is a Black promotion. I think Flying V. There's some like MCW is probably the biggest name pro wrestling locally, indie locally, but there are some others. Like I know Flying V and C3W are both Black owned, I believe. So and they're more of like actual DMV, like south of like Laurel, like DC area promotions, but MCW is that like Greater Baltimore area. So yeah, man, Maryland's got some stuff. There's been some folks come through MCW. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to have or be from somewhere that has like a really good history and like heritage in pro wrestling where people can always point to certain things.
Yeah, I've read about I've been reading about MCW since I used to collect wrestling magazines back in like the late 90s, and I used to read about people like Paul Carmichael, Christian York, Joey Matthews, and even to this day they're still churning out stars. I mean, they had Renee Michelle came from there. You had people like Leo Rush and Velveteen Dream that came out of there too. So I guess that last name I probably should have mentioned, but the first
it happened.
Yeah, but the first two definitely came from there as well. And hopefully one day I could check out MCW and check out the goodness. But before I do that, I gotta hit Delaware, man, because Delaware got one CW and CW down there.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about the Black wrestling community. A lot of people don't know this, or either they don't know or they don't care. But it's a brother that's running CCW.
Okay.
Marcello. He was one half of the D line in Ring of Honor, and now he's the promoter of CCW, and they're doing great things. And
that's the promotion that just recently honored Dr. D, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out Doc, man. That's the homie. Good guy, man.
Yeah, I met him. He was at Black Wrestling Fest, Black Wrestle Fest, and
did come up, yeah.
Yeah, he was man looked like he was about to put Sir Wilkins to a table because Sir Wilkins said something about
Sting.
Yeah. I was like, man, Sir Wilkins, you must really want to make your debut early, man. You could just say something like that. Yeah, man. So tell us, man, like how did it start for you? How did your fandom for wrestling start, man? What was the match or the main event that you saw or pay-per-view that made you go, yo, that's what's up, man? I'm with that.
So I'm an older guy, right? So I'm it's a kid. Like I go back to Saturday morning cartoons. And Saturday morning cartoons over 11, you know what I mean? 11. Then you get like a Kung Fu Theater and Soul Train in the afternoons. So Saturday morning cartoons had just gone off. And like I said, I'm an older guy. So I'm going through the channels with the brrr, you know what I mean? With that thing. And I believe it was Paul Orndorff. It was Hogan and Orndorff shooting some kind of weird angle where they were on the phone or something. And I'm like, why are these great big dudes in their underwear on the phone? Like, and then they go into a match. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily just the match. It was that thing to do right after cartoons every Saturday was pro wrestling. And so, you get to see the Macho Mans and the Ricky Steamboats of the world. And that's kind of what pulled me in was you would see promos for the bigger guys, the main event guys. But that upper mid card is what kind of ran TV then, and which were, the workhorse guys anyway. And that's kind of how I started watching superstars every Saturday. And then I found WCW Worldwide and NWA. And so just kind of having kind of options and just finding it. I just happened to find it, and then I found out that my older cousin, shout out to Booby, he was into it. He was like, "Oh, you found it," and that became something we bonded over, man. And that's just really how I got into it, man. Family and just serendipity. You're muted, bro.
Yeah, you're mute, man.
That's how I kind of started too, because I remember when I started watching, it was I never forget, it was Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake versus Macho King and Zeus, and I was hooked from since then. And several years later, I'm in vacation in my home country, Guyana, and one morning I was me and my cousin are chatting, and he's talking about wrestling, and this time I'm thinking nobody in Guyana knows about WWE and whatnot. And then lo and behold, my cousin starts calling names like Hulk Hogan, and I'm like, huh? And then him being like older than me, he was like mentioning people like Mike Rotundo. I knew like IRS because I grew up with, I started with WWE.
Yeah.
And then he was mentioning like Ron Simmons and Butch Doom and several other people. I'm like, yo, this guy knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And we bonded over that too, and to this day he still watches too. So yeah, I was that's how it kind of started for me as well. And yeah, I'm glad I grew up in the era, because I grew up in the era where like I said, wrestling fans these days, the modern fans don't know how it was back then. You got wrestling on Saturday, you got wrestling on Sunday, and that was it. This was before Raw.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the pay-per-view, if you didn't see the pay-per-view, tough luck. You'd have heard about it from friends, or
you had to wait for it to come to the video store where you would go rent the VHS months later.
Yeah, or you'd actually probably see the stills if they were that generous.
Yeah.
The next episode of Superstars or whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So who are some of your favorites you enjoyed watching growing up?
Well, I mentioned Steamboat. Steamboat's always been one of my favorite guys just to watch. He was just so, so clean. Mr. Perfect was always amazing in ring. I like guys who were like somewhere in the middle, like they always could really work, but like their characters were always over. You never had to worry about, well, what they do, because we didn't think about them, in as far as well, I don't think the character is translating. It was like, well, if he jumps off the screen and I like his matches and I root for him, that's really, you know what I mean? That's what drew me in. And that's really to this day, really still is what my draw is kind of a healthy combination of can he work in the ring, but do I care about him on TV more so? Still muted, champ.
I gotta stop doing that. Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, yeah, it was man. I tell you, the characters were so different, the wrestlers were so different, and it was like they pretty much jumped out at you. Like they had larger than life characters and so on.
Mhm.
Uh, you mentioned Steamboat, and of course, everybody mentions Steamboat and Flair as one of the greatest rivalries.
Oh yeah.
If you had, you're in the podcasting game, and I've known you and Drip, Matt, Mimi, and also Kyle. They all have actually seen your share of matches.
Absolutely.
Being a wrestling fan for so long, what rivalry would you modern day, and it could be from it does not necessarily be from NW, it could be from WB, AEW, Impact. What rivalry in the last 10 years would you say has been, if not on the same level, like almost up there with Flair and Steamboat?
I would say I'm going to be honest, nothing, right? But to answer the question, my favorite rivalry of the last 10 years easily is the Usos and the New Day. Every time they get in the ring, it's magic. Um, the everybody's a character, and then you've gotten to see different iterations of really both teams. So yeah, as far as rivalry goes, New Day Usos has always been great.
Oh, okay, yeah. I always said that I would equate that to the Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express, right?
Midnight. Mhm.
That's what I
Yeah,
equate that to.
that's really good. Yeah.
For singles, this might sound crazy, but I would say John Cena, Randy Orton. For some reason, always saw Superman facing Lex Luthor or Batman facing Joker.
Yeah.
You know, Batman taking it easy on him, but Joker always trying his best to one up him or kill him or whatnot. I would say that particular rivalry is up there.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people like that. The only thing that people complain about, of course, with Orton is his time where he kind of checks out and he's phoning it in. So you're always going to get. I mean, he's so naturally gifted in ring. The match is always going to be great, but sometimes you cared about the actual feuds, and sometimes you're like, well, at least the match will be good.
So I gotta
That's
ask.
all, Vin.
So I gotta ask you this question. So you say Usos, and I've been wanting to ask this question for a long time. Okay, so it looks like the Usos are gonna break the New Day's um record, right? 400 something days.
Mhm.
After when they lose those titles, or if they vacate them or whatever, do you see anything in the future for the Usos? I mean, we know the New Day, they've surpassed. I mean, you got Big E and Kofi with world title reigns under their belt.
Mhm.
Xavier Woods is the king of the ring.
Mhm.
Uh, was the king of the ring last year. But
Mhm.
do you see anything in the future for Jimmy and Jay past the bloodline?
Well, you see them doing it with what I think is the best storyline in pro wrestling right now is you see them setting up for I believe it's my man main event Jimmy to move along after everything is going on and separate. He seems like the one that is going to mutiny. As you know, he's got so much trouble with Sammy. It's really everything that they're doing there, man. They're not with that particular situation. Everything surrounding Roman and all of the Usos now, you know what I mean, the whole bloodline, man, it's been great. And I think they Roman and Jimmy had that match early, right? And I think that
It's actually Jay.
I'm
Jay
sorry,
was
Jay, my bad.
Jimmy's the one that was
That was hurt.
Jimmy's Naomi. That's Naomi's husband. That's the one
Yeah,
that
yeah.
came.
No, don't do that. That's terrible. But I'm sorry. Yeah, that's my bad. But you see it, where they're ready. They're ready to do something else, and they're planting a bunch of seeds for them to do different things. And I hope that, I mean, with them bringing up the other Uso, maybe they can have a new iteration of the Usos and let my man do his thing. I mean, it could definitely work.
Yeah, honestly, all three of us have been watching for a long time, and I would love for it to happen. I hope it happens because the one thing that would probably hold them back is they're twins, and we all know that when you're a twin in professional wrestling, you're boxed into that twin category. Look at people like the Harris brothers. Look at people like the Cole twins, the Cole brothers. And there's several other tag teams. I mean, granted, the Bella twins, they were able to branch out, but that's I could name two other factors as to why that happened. That's just my theory.
Right.
And
Well,
not taking it.
the cool thing about the Usos though is they've had periods. I mean, some of it was trouble, some of it was injury, but they've had times where someone had to survive on their own, and I think that shows, the folks upstairs who are watching and setting all these things in motion, shows, okay, we can get this guy the ball by himself. He doesn't need he don't need bro. He can just get busy by himself. So I think that's really important, because that's really a lot of what it's based on is when you've seen these twins, with the exception of the Bellas in the past, it's been every time you see him, you see him. You know what I mean? Where you've got an opportunity to see the differences in personality, and they can stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, I really hope it pays off for Jay. I really hope it, because one, I want him to live up to that main event, that moniker, main event Uso,
Mm-hmm.
and also the stuff that man had to go through, man, the beat downs and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, I really hope they don't put him back in the tag team, when they lose those titles. I really hope that this leads to, like, and I'm gonna say a world title win, not just an IC title, US title. I'm talking about a world title win. That'd definitely be good. And we'll just have to see. Definitely have to see. But I'm gonna call it first. Sami Zayn, I think him and Kevin Owens, they're gonna do some funny stuff with against the Bloodline. It's going to happen. I'm gonna call it right now. That's just my prediction.
I can see it.
Yeah. So you're 1/5 of one of the, in my opinion, one of the best podcasts in the wrestling podcast game. Black
That.
You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say I'm not here kissing ass. I'm a keep. I live in New York, where we keep it real. We keep it Ben Frank.
So hold on. You if we was trash, you would say, look, y'all, y'all suck, but I got you on anyway.
Well, Mom used to say, if you can't say nothing nice, they don't say nothing at all. Just keep it moving.
Fair enough.
But I give credit where credit's due. Y'all want the best. Y'all give back, to wrestling, and also the Black wrestling community with y'all's, list with y'all's list that y'all do for the Black
50.
And recognizing those that didn't make the 500. You're giving them a spot to you're giving them the spotlight on another platform to let people know, hey, this brother didn't make it, this sister didn't make it, but guess what? They actually exist, and this is where we recognize, and I've enjoyed it. Obviously, me being a Black wrestling fan, I've enjoyed what y'all been doing. But tell us, man, how did y'all get started? How did you, Matt, Kyle, Drip, and now Mimi, who's the newest member, how'd y'all get started? Like, what made y'all come together?
So Cal was already doing Black Rasslin when I first, like when I first started interacting with him online, he was like when he started a Black Rasslin, it was just a solo deal. It was just Cal doing it himself, and he got a new job, and he had to stop. He didn't have the time for it. So during that time, shout out to the homies. We started the Where's Buffy podcast, which is a more of a men's like pop culture type of deal. You know what I'm saying? We're not like that relationship kind of podcast, but more like just talking pop culture, sports, and barbershop talk. And during that, we Math and myself, Math's also a part of the Where's Buffy crew. Shout out to Kill, shout out to Diz, shout out to Brock, and shout out to Cal now. But we was like, yo, I want to do something in the pro wrestling space. I reached out to Math and I was like, yo, you think Cal would be interested in bringing back Black Rasslin? And if you've met my cousin, he said, well, motherfucker, go find out. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what we did. I hit Cal like, yo, what do you think? And maybe a week or two later, man, we was on the phone and we had started recording. And it came out of I want to create content that, like I kind of have a passion for. And at the same time, Cal started this thing to kind of shine light and tell stories from our perspective, because you got to realize, like, pro wrestling is been, it's a brainchild of white men, and that's kind of the original target audience and the original mindset of it. But then as time goes on and more things diversify, culture will push everything else, and it pushed into pro wrestling. When we first came around, man, and we started with the BRP 50, it was like, man, dang near a struggle. I remember when shout out to Rosenberg, when they first covered Stat Guy Greg had put us on his Black Power rankings for dropping a list, and Rosenberg was like, there's 50 Black pro wrestlers. And now it's to the point where, because there weren't that many, we didn't know, the indies weren't as big as they are now. There's been an explosion of Black pro wrestlers over the last 4 and some change years since we've been doing the BRP 50. So I think the really cool part about it is being able to see the amount of recognition grow for Black pro wrestlers and folks just getting a chance. And especially Black women, man. Black women have been killing it in the pro wrestling space on both sides. On the I don't know if you call it like press. I mean, of course, a bunch of Black women pro wrestlers have been killing it, but now you're seeing like the content creators come up too, man. And I think both things have been really, really dope to see over the time that we've been doing things.
And I gotta say, I don't mean to side this, but I gotta give a shout out to 2 special, lovely Black women out there who are killing it. I'm talking about Krista B and Queen PR, those wrestling girls.
The homies. They were just
Go ahead, man. My bad.
They were just on this past week promoting their event. I believe November 4th up there. But yeah, man, shout out to Krista and Queen PR. They are our little sisters, man. You know what I mean? So when y'all see us in the same spot, you know what I mean? Be respectful, because they big brothers they ain't always right. They probably got some whiskey in them.
Yeah, I was actually I ran into y'all before. I don't know if y'all probably remember. That was like last year when they had the first with the third anniversary.
The panel.
And
we had a good time out there, man. That was just a lot of alcohol in that building that night.
Yeah, I saw like a lot of people who I've seen like on the internet, but never like in full. I'm like, yo, I be hashtag, we be hashtagging FF Follow Friday y'all all the time, and that's y'all in person. Wow, that's crazy, small world.
Oh yeah, everybody was in the house. Brian H. Waters was in the house. What's Blue and them? What's that? I can't think of their podcast right now.
Mixed Tag Show.
Yes, Mixed Tag. They were in the house. It was, of course, Jabba Tiz. Yeah, man, it was really good. getting there and seeing everybody and getting to put hands on everybody, not that way, but you know what it is. And then to follow it up with going to Mania this past year, it was really cool having people that you can not necessarily just the folks that you meet as wrestling fans, but family almost now. This is the podcast family, and you start running in circles. It's been really cool. I mentioned Dr. D earlier. He did a panel at BlurCon down here in Virginia this past fall, and we had a ball in there, man. This past summer. We had a ball, and it was fair, man. You know what I mean? You had Brian H. Waters and Janelle from Jabba Tiz, Danielle from Pretty Hills. Of course, My Kicks and My Fix. Shout out Corey from Turnbuckle Talk. There's been a lot of folks, man, just really been able to have a community of like-minded folks who, get a chance to be creative together.
Yeah, that was, and like I said, I'm very happy to see like I don't mean to sound like I'm against anybody's ethnicity, but I'm not. I mean, come on, I got the Eminem to my Royce the 5'9" right next to me, Rob Bates. But at the same time, it's like I like seeing like my people, people in my community rise up and do big things like y'all, like Jabba Tears was another people I utmost respect. And the thing is, anybody could. It's one thing to run a podcast. When you take that platform and you give back to the community, that says a lot. And I just gotta say, if nobody has told you before, you're gonna hear it from us for the first time. If they told you before, if they thanked you before, well, you're gonna hear it from us for the millionth time. But thank you for that Black Rasslin the BRP 50. Really appreciate it. Although a certain person did not appreciate it, but we ain't gonna mention that person. I'm not even gonna say what gender that person is, but and I know who that person is, and they just
he had 52 reasons where he didn't want to be on the list, or she, I don't know. But yeah, I understand. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. We do it because we didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that kid that didn't grow up with a pops is gonna overcompensate as a father because he didn't have it. That being said, we didn't have any black content creators or whatever when we were coming up. So it's dope to be able to be that. And for like the kids that are in Victor Perry's class doing that wrestling club, man, it's good to be able to give to those kind of folks and have them have something instead of being salty, that we didn't have. Shout out to Vin, man. Whole time. Absolutely. My man. Shout out to Vin, man. Hey, man, shout out to the folks, Vin. You know what I'm saying? Vin and Sparks over at Wrestle Rap, man. Those are also quality content creators we've clicked up with and consider family, man. So it's really good. Our family isn't just black, but it's mostly black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we had allies, man. I mean, if you could remember, I'm gonna be real right now. If you could remember and for those of y'all that get offended, I'm sorry. But if we could remember the Sambos and the Uncle Toms, why not the allies? You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
We had allies back in the day too that weren't even cool what was going on, and they stood beside us. So yeah. You know what I'm saying? I even joke and say, hey, Rob Bass over here is that teacher on the Boondocks. Remember the Boondocks episode where they said Jesus can't be white? Rob over here. Rob is like y'all's version of Drip. Rob is like our version of Drip. Like he's like, nah, boy, you gotta sit your ass down, man. Like, Daquan gonna be Jesus this year, man. You know what I'm saying? You could be somewhere else. I'm just playing with you, Rob, man. Don't yeah. But anyways, man, I just got two more questions, before Rob here, takes over. But so, y'all are doing great things, man. So what's next for Black Rasslin, man? I mean, are y'all gonna have like a little panel like those wrestling girls have in the DMV area? Are y'all gonna maybe do a promotion, maybe a little wrestling show, hopefully, with all the brothers, the brothers and sisters in the game, making an appearance, or I mean, I ain't trying to put you on the spot, but I'm just, just curious. I mean, y'all doing great things, man.
For us, right now we prefer to stay on the fan side of things. Of course, as far as we may venture and try to do something in Baltimore, maybe DMV wise. But really, our focus is expanding our content, giving you more weekly, giving you as much as we can, and just keeping the content quality, man. We just had a merch drop. If you missed it, my apologies. But try to keep quality merch in the neighborhood, and what I mean, keep killing it on both sides, on the free side and on the Patreon side of the game.
Awesome. That's cool. So I got one more question, man. This is my last question right now. So let's say if somebody came up to you, Matt, Drip, and the rest of the gang, Kyle and Mimi, and they were like, yo, what y'all doing is fresh. Y'all inspire me. I want to do not exactly what y'all doing, because let's be honest, y'all unique, but I want to do something. I want to get into the podcasting game, and I want to be able to give back and whatnot. Like, what advice would you give that person that's starting out that y'all inspire?
I think you have to figure out what makes you unique and lean on that, as well as focus on being informed, like making sure your perspective is informed, so that people have a reason to say, let me come to X, Y, and Z to make sure that they're gonna give me the game, but they're also gonna be entertaining. And that's the other thing, is whatever it is you do, be consistent, be entertaining. That's it.
Awesome. So for those of y'all that just heard that, y'all just got some advice from one of the best podcasts in the game, in the wrestling game. Anything else, you might gotta shoot them some money to the Cash App or the PayPal, but he gave you a little something right now that y'all could roll with. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to my homeboy Rob Bass. Rob, the floor is open, man. Take it away.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, man? How's everything going today?
Oh man, things are going well, man. You got one of my favorite movies behind you. You got that Back to the Future. You know what I mean, Marty McFly. You know what I'm saying? Great flicks. All great content behind you, man. And of course, you got the Cobra Kai, man. Cobra Kai's killing it.
Yeah.
So yo, shout out to you, man.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I let my nerdy side out, man. I just tried to, a little bit, man, a little bit. So, man, y'all got that rain coming up today, man? Because it's been raining and windy all day, yesterday and stuff, man. Y'all had that today too?
Yeah, a bunch of gloomy. I'm assuming remnants of all that weather that took place this past weekend with the hurricane or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. I know, man. I'm trying to. Yeah, hopefully it gets out of here, man. So, man, is it Sunday? Extreme Rules up in Philly, man. Are you excited for that? Are you going up there? Do you have any tickets, or are you just going to watch it on pay-per-view?
I think it's Saturday, but
is it Saturday?
I'm actually gonna miss it. You know what I'm saying? I got a little family function going on, so I will be probably 3 sheets to the wind. I will probably catch it on Sunday, actually.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know some of the homies are talking about heading up, down, wherever, depending on where they reside at. But a couple of the homies are talking about falling through Philly. Philly's not far for everybody in that little circle. So I'm hoping, folks will have a ball up there. The event, the card looks dope. So I'm excited about it, but I probably won't watch live.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna, because my buddy, he's trying to get me to go up there, man. He's like, man, if I have a show earlier that day, I gotta be ring announcing and all. And by the time I get done at home and all that, it'd be like, I got right up to Philly. So I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out, man. 'Cause after the show, I'm gonna want to watch, eat dinner and hang out and all that good stuff, man. So now I was checking out WrestleMania tickets up there because Philly's they're gonna have WrestleMania. I think it's like a couple years or whatever, man. I don't know if you've looked into it yet, man, but I think 2-day tickets, up in the cheap seats up there at the link, it was like $500 for a 2-day, pass. I'm like, I can start saving up now, man, because I never paid that much for a wrestling ticket, man, and I've never been to a WrestleMania. And I'm always excited, man. So have you ever been to one, and have you think about going to Philly?
I am definitely. We were in Dallas this past year. We didn't go to Mania. We
Mm.
had a house, and we kind of had a little party type situation at the house in Dallas. But I have been to Mania. I went to Mania in Atlanta, which was the Cena Miz main event. Which
Okay.
of course a lot of folks kind of poo poo on the event, but it's kind of where as an adult I got back excited again for pro wrestling because it was like, everybody falls off. Everybody watches as a
Mm-hmm.
kid. They go through that period where it's whatever, you're doing other things. And that's kind of when I started finding my way back and getting, excited about pro wrestling again and finding friends. Shout out to my man Ramez, who I went down there with. It was so, man, listen, that just the big deal feel in a stadium, people all around, and the sound just goes straight up. It's crazy. So yeah, man, Mania is definitely one of those things that you have to do at least once if you get a chance. Just do it. But yeah, we probably look to go. We're probably going to go to LA this year, and then probably Philly next year. So yeah, we'll be in the area if not in the building, but we're probably looking to be in the building.
Yeah, because I figure, even if I don't go to WrestleMania in Philly, man, they got all kinds of shows and all going on over there. I was like, man, maybe I can watch one of them, or maybe catch on, be a ref at one show, or ring announce at a couple or something, man, make a couple bucks, hey, man, do my thing.
That's what's up, man. I know we went to a GCW for the Culture show in Dallas this past year, and man, we had a ball. This was when Hit Row was on their indie run, and we got a chance to see Top Dollar, who's actually from my hood, do that moonsault off the second rope against Shane Taylor Promotions. I wish we'd have got more time with them on the indies, if to see maybe a couple of matches with STP and Hit Row going back and forth, man, because I really enjoyed that event, but just the vibe of GCW and a full of culture show, man. We had a really good time out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to, man. I'm hoping Faye Jackson keeps doing her, sweatpants battle royal shows, man, because I want to get in on be a ref on that one or something, man. I'll go out there. Yeah, I told her I don't mind, man. Hey, I ain't ashamed or nothing, man. I'll go right out there. I don't care.
Shout out to Faye, man. I was in the house for the last battle royal out at Jobber Slam, man. It was definitely a wild event. And shout out to the Salad Glizzy, if anyone understands that. Shout out to them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. So, you mentioned your favorite wrestlers as a kid, man. Steamboat and all that, man. See, Steamboat, man, I have a long history with him because that was my mom's favorite wrestler, also. Steamboat and JYD, Junkyard Dog. You know what I mean? I grew up, they were always my favorite. And Perfect, he was my favorite too, man. Like, the reason I liked Bret Hart was because, I was never sold on him until I watched him wrestle Mr. Perfect, and I was like, all right, Bret can go. He ain't just like a tag dude, nothing no more. So I was like, all right, yeah, here we go, man. So who are your who do you root for now? Who's the people you root for now?
Like I said, man, AJ Francis is from my neighborhood, so anything they do over there, I'm rocking with. Big fan of folks kind of coming up. I like Willow Nightingale. You know what I'm saying? It's been cool to watch her go from just kind of that nice girl to kind of more like you're starting to see like the character coming all the way together. There's that switch that comes at the end of her matches after that pounce, and she, with the, it's cool to see folks like that kind of come along. And of course, everybody likes, Roman after he came back, you know what I'm saying, in the Thunderdome era and stuff. So, those are the folks that I kind of, check out all the time now and kind of pay attention to all the time.
Yeah, Willow, that's my family's. That's their favorite wrestler. She is because they come to watch me or whatever. CCW's there also. She wrestled for them, and yeah, she's their favorite and all. And every show they get mad at me because I don't bring them back there to introduce them to her. They're like, come on, man, when you gonna introduce us to her stuff? I'm like, oh man. Every time a show, it's like, oh, you got a show. Is Willow gonna be there? Is Willow gonna be there? They ain't trying to see me. They just want to see Willow. You know, what I mean, Willow's that awesome.
Yeah, Willow's
I
dope.
remember telling. Yeah, I remember telling her about that. She was doing a little dance. She's like, "That's right, that's right." She's so awesome. She's awesome. Now you're talking about, your top 50 list and stuff. Now I don't know if you know who this guy is and all, but I trained with him, Tiberius Asante. If y'all, keep some eyes on him, man, the African bulldozer. And that
Okay.
dude, man, he be tearing it up and down the East Coast, man. I train with him. He comes to training twice a week, tearing it up, man. Big dude, man. So yeah, if y'all ever, check him out, man. Yeah, he's pretty good, man. That's my guy, man. Shout out Tiberius, man.
Hey man, you gotta shoot me a couple. Shoot me some YouTube links and some matches, man.
Oh
Because
yeah.
as I'm gonna tell you, brother Math spearheads pretty much the BRP 50. So a lot of the stuff that we aren't familiar with, we find out from him. But it's very possible. Like I said, there's been an explosion of Black pro wrestling over the last like 5-6 years. So it's easy for some folks to kind of fall through the cracks and not end up on our radar. So if it's somebody like that, just shoot us the links, man. We want to check out everybody.
Oh yeah. I'll definitely do that, man. He's awesome, man. That's my guy, man. He's awesome. Now, getting off wrestling a little bit, man. You mentioned going down to Dallas and stuff, man. I did get to see you're a Cowboys fan, right?
Absolutely.
So, man, yeah, look, how are you feeling about your Cowboys, man? Because at the beginning of the season, man, Stephen A. Smith, but now, man, Cooper Rush, man, he coming in there, he's doing his thing, man. So, y'all feeling good again? Ready for Dak comeback?
So the thing I'm the happiest about is the thing that I don't feel like people are talking about enough. That defense is real. And
Oh yeah.
I live near Baltimore and I know what a real defense looks like. You know what I'm saying? Watching the Ravens play. And that's what that that defense looks like. You know what I'm saying? And it was impressive actually today to see Rex Ryan really talking about that defense. Like those guys are for real. And that's kind of a stamp of approval that you want. I feel like when Dak comes back, he's the QB1 in Dallas no matter what.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush listen, he's doing an amazing job. He's not messing up. He's not turning the ball over. He's also, we're not knocking it out. We're not scoring 30 points a game either. So without the hype train, our offense is good enough. Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl. But yeah, man, I think our defense is good enough for us to make some sort of noise. Get a playoff win or two up under the belt, man. Hopefully win a division, but we'll find out in about 2 weeks when we go see Philly if the defense is enough to keep us afloat.
Oh yeah. I agree with you, man. Yeah, whenever he's ready to come back, man, he's the guy, man. So I don't, he ain't even got. I don't think right now he's got a rush to come back, because I know Jerry Jones. He's like, man. He was like, man, we gotta get him back quick, because he didn't know, Now it's like, okay, yeah, man, he's solid QB, man. He knows what to do, man. He's good taking control of the car. But yeah. So. Now I do gotta ask, man. Are there any new movies and TV shows you're into right now? Because I'm always trying to, find new stuff to watch, man. I literally just finished watching the new Doctor Strange that came out a couple months ago, man. Like that one was good, man. The one with Scarlet Witch and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I'm ready for some more of that, man.
Yeah, it was cool to kind of see her get where they were trying to get her to go, like with the Disney Plus show and kind of showing the progression of the character. I thought that was really dope. I'm watching all the Marvel stuff. So She-Hulk. I'm watching Andor. I'm watching the Game of Thrones prequel. I think that's it right now. It's just always so much on TV right now.
Now, is the Game of Thrones prequel pretty good, man? Because I was a fan of Game of Thrones, man. I'm like, man, if I watch this, I'm gonna want to binge everything. I'm gonna be like, oh man, I gotta wait next week for next show.
It's funny you say that. This week was the first week that because my wife and I watched most of these shows together. But this was the first week that I did watch live because I had to catch up. I didn't have HBO Max when it first came out. And so I ended up getting HBO Max maybe a week later. And then I was watching all these other shows, and I finally said, all right, well, let's go ahead and lock in and let's start watching these. And we caught up last week. And so this was the first week that we watched live with everybody. And man, that show is insane. It's the same, the stuff you love, the interpersonal relationships, just the family stuff, and the violent sex, and all that kind of stuff that goes into the. Yes, the dragons came early. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to wait 4 seasons for an actual dragon. So, yeah, man, you know what I mean? I'm still waiting because it's called the Return of, or is it Enter the Dragon, Return of the Dragons, whatever. I'm waiting for Cisco to show up, man.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Cisco. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, man. He need to bring Drew Hill with him. You know what I mean? Like his other dragon with me, bring all Drew Hill.
All of them, man. The extra new people, all that. Bring the whole crew.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
He's like, yeah, we'll be there in about 5 steps.
Outstanding.
I told you this guy, he's that teacher. I'm convinced he was black in a previous life. I'm convinced.
See, that's my dad had me growing up listening to Sam Cooke and the Temptations and stuff, man. So yeah, that stuff, I love all that kind of music and blues, all that, yeah. That was my dad's music. He passed that on to me. My mom, she's more Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston type, Okay. that came on to me too.
How far away are you from where the Briscoes be at? What's the name of that area they talk about?
Laurel, probably about a half hour. Not far. Okay. They're right down 13, man. Just go down 13. Yeah, I think they got a farm down there too, man. They have like a little wrestling ring. They be training people out there and all that good stuff, man.
Okay.
Sometimes they come to 1CW, man. I always try and meet them, man, but something always happens, man. I never get to catch them, man. I'm like, dang, man. They always, they leave from, get there. I'm like, dang. Yeah, it's all good, though, man.
They seem like a live bunch, man. They definitely. Every time I've seen them, they've jumped off the screen since I've seen them in Ring of Honor. So yeah, they've always been dope.
Oh yeah. So what was your first pay-per-view you got to see, man? Where was it something on TV, or did you go somewhere, to see a pay-per-view,
So my first.
Do you remember?
The first first pay-per-view I can recall actually sitting and watching. It wasn't live. I watched it on tape, but it was Mania 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the Big Daddy. You know what I'm saying? You got the Hogan Andre, but more importantly, Steamboat Savage. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, me and Cuz, shout out to Math. I think Cuz moms had got the tape or whatever, and we sat and watched that joint, man. And that was really the first time I watched a pay-per-view. I think the first pay-per-view I went to was King of the Ring Baltimore, where Owen Hart was the King of Hearts. So that was the first thing I remember going to live. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that King of the Ring. Oh man, yeah. I wish I would have went there, man. My mom and dad, they're like, they had 3 kids, young kids. They're like, well, now we ain't traveling all there, paying all that money, you good. So I had to wait till I was 16, man. Got a car, and I used to go on my own, man. Then I do that. I go see ECW and stuff and all that stuff.
That's dope, man. When I first started being able to get my own tickets and whatnot, we would go to the Great American Bash when it was in Baltimore every year, which was dope.
Oh, nice. I remember at ECW one time, my brother, he was like 10 or 11 at one point, and it was like during intermission, we walked around outside and stuff, and there were some wrestlers over in the back, like in a circle, man. You went by, I was like, man, it smells like some skunks out here, you know what I mean? RVD and them over there, man. I remember my brother, man, he goes, somebody better watch out, man. There's a skunk out here or something, man. I was like, yep, that's right, man. Come on, let's go. Let's go, man. I don't want mom beating us.
Yeah, no, don't get in trouble.
Yeah, man, I don't want mom, this is back in the 90s, so yeah, man. It's like, no, I don't want cops, no, we good. Now, before I pass it on back to Remy, I do got to ask, when's your next, podcast show? You got interviews lined up or anything like that? Something coming up soon?
So I think, of course, we're every Thursday, 8:35 live YouTube, Black Rasslin. Um, Also, this Wednesday, I believe the episode of Something Else dropping is Sugar Dunkington. That he's a character. Always entertaining, man. We have a really good time rocking out. Where's Buffy this Friday? At Where's Buffy? Friday will be live. Tomorrow, actually, you'll be able to get the published show on YouTube or any audio you can get. The podcast from the show, everything will be on Apple Music, Google Play, and all that tomorrow. So yeah, man, bunch of stuff every week, man. And of course, the BRP Patreon, which is White Noise, Black Rasslin Podcast Club, Black Watch, which is me and downtown Tony Brown watching all the matches from all the WrestleManias with black folks in it, man. So there's always a bunch of content coming. You know what I'm saying? We're always working.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Now, before I pass back to Remy, I do want to say, thank you for taking time out of your day. Come on, chat with us, man. It's been a blast.
No
I
problem.
wish you, your podcast, your family, and all that, nothing but the best in the future. Hope you achieve
Same
all
to you,
your
bro.
goals and all your dreams. And hey, man, I hope the Cowboys, go to the playoffs for you, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
there
man.
you go.
Yeah, man. Playoffs and at least a win or two is good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for my team. Hopefully the quarterback isn't dead. My team's the Dolphins. So hopefully my quarterback comes back. So
I
if
got an
not,
alert on my phone. I got an alert on my phone a couple of hours ago saying that Tua Tagovailoa, however you say his last name,
yeah,
is ruled out this week. I'm like, no kidding.
yeah. I know. I said that too. I was like, man, he probably gonna be out for a couple of weeks, man. I don't see him
If
back for
he
a
makes it
while, man.
back, yeah.
Yeah, that man, he looked like a UFC fighter. When they get knocked out, he was all like, like that. I was like.
Yeah, at that Sunday game, he looked like on Mortal Kombat right before they say finish him, and
Pretty
yeah,
much, yeah, yeah.
he looked like he was
He
gonna
was up
make it.
there. He's dazed. Yeah, he's dazed and confused, man. So
That's true.
man. I hope wish nothing but the best for all y'all, man. And I hope y'all keep on kicking butt, man.
Absolutely, same to you, fellas.
Fam, I just gotta say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on our show to shoot the breeze about wrestling and your podcast or whatnot. We really and truly do appreciate that. And actually, we appreciate all that you do for not just wrestling, but also for the Black wrestling community and putting us on to those wrestlers that don't get the shine that they rightfully deserve. And I wish you guys, nothing but the best in the future. Hopefully next year or the year after we get a BRP 100, and and so on and so on. And I don't mean to plug this, but funny thing is we have another after this show, 11 o'clock tonight. We actually have another guy that's actually a brother that's actually. He graduated from the Nightmare Factory, which is ran by Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall. He graduated from Camp 4, and he actually wrestles over in California. People know him as Yellow Boots, but his ring name is Cliff Hendricks. So we got him on. So if you want, you can check that out, see what he's about and so on. But I just gotta say, thank you for what y'all do, and I wish you guys nothing but the best, and I hope you guys go as far as you want to go and whatnot, because we definitely need platforms like y'all's own and so on. And tell Kyle, tell Matt, tell Mimi, tell Drip, we're gonna be looking to have them on here soon. So don't think they go high. We're gonna have all of them on here, individually real soon. So with that being said, before we shut the show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to, talk wrestling, check out, Black Rasslin Podcast, recommend some wrestlers y'all should check out, or even if they want to purchase some, merch from y'all, whether it be from Black Rasslin or something else pod, Where's Buffy, and so on.
So, of course, at Where's Buffy on all social media, where'sbuffy.com, at Something Else Pod, that's something, no G, because we all the G you need, at Black Rasslin on all social media. I am IlFam79 on your social media choice, aka the On Answer the Podcast, and aka Captain Brew Albano, Brew Diamond Phillips, Thinky the Dragon, Steamboat Pod, Shampoo, God's favorite podcast, the Potty Piper. I'm here to podcast Chew Bubble Gum, and I'm all out of Dentine Ice.
Awesome. So y'all heard, definitely follow this man and the rest of and the rest of the crew. They're doing great things, and I guarantee y'all won't regret it. Especially if you're a Black wrestling fan, check them out. They're doing great things for the community. But with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner time and a nap. Maybe not in that order, but before I partake in those activities, Rob Bass, the Eminem to my Royce the 5'9", the Ghost to my Tommy, and heck, I'm gonna be a bit controversial. The Drip to my fam. Where can fans find you on social media?
All right.
When they want to find when your next appearance is, purchase Rob Bass merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Rob_Base82, and then Facebook Rob Base. And then Saturday, in Houston, Delaware, if y'all are around, our wrestling school, Workhorse Wrestling, we're putting on a show. You know, it's all the students and stuff. I think it's free admission to come out. You know, just come on out, support us. It starts at bell times at 10 a.m. And you know, we got a couple matches. Should be awesome. And also, if you go to eatsleepwrestle.com, for John Cosper, you know, the guy who wrote this book about Princess Victoria. He wrote, about all kinds of wrestlers, and you put in the code ringside, you get 10% off your order for any of those books like that, man. They're awesome books. They're great books. He's a great writer, so definitely do that if you're into reading the autobiography stuff, man. So remember, you go in, type in the code ringside, it's 10% off, and you can use it as many times as you want, I think.
Y'all definitely check out that book. It's It's about a woman that made history, Princess Victoria, one half of the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Check it out. If you're into women's wrestling, there should be no reason why you're not reading that. But I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I ain't your daddy. I ain't even y'all's cousin. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. If you are into women's wrestling and you care about the history of it, we highly recommend that book. Shout out to John Cosper and his great works that he's doing, not just as a fan, but also publishing getting those books published and so on. But another thing, yes, that same student show, check it out. No, they may not have the who's who of indie wrestling, but you never know who from that show is gonna be the who's who of wrestling. So definitely go ahead and check that show out. It's free. Well, I think it might be free. If it's free, get your butts down there, have a seat, and see some of tomorrow's superstars do their thing today, or more specifically, this Saturday out there in Houston, Delaware. And if you want to follow me on social media, not that I have anything cool to say these days, but who knows? Maybe you'll hear me say something cool. You can find me on Twitter at @TheRemyBlue, also on Instagram at @TheRemyBlue, and also on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. Our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group. We also have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts for the winter that's coming and the cold weather. And we also have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage, whether it's pumpkin spice latte, hot chocolate, or heck, maybe something with Henny. I know some of y'all be doing that, but definitely check us out. Cop some merch. All proceeds go back into keeping our show afloat. And last but not least, also check out our YouTube channel. That's where you can find a lot of cool interviews like this one, like the one we've had with several other podcasters, several other fans as well. We guarantee you won't be bored. Just go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society, and when you see that sweet dark blue and light blue yin yang sound, the blue flames are on it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. And you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in tonight live. Really appreciate it. We try our best to be one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan should listen to. To those y'all that are going to listen to us later on when you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at the Golden Corral and Rob Bass at the Taco Festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
We ain't stopping. With that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well aware to everybody and their grandparents and the parents of a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. Hey yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for Ill Fam, and one time for the Black Rasslin Podcast. BRP.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. We'll be back later on tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 8 o'clock p.m. for my West Coast riders with Cliff Hendricks, a.k.a. Yellow Boots from Nightmare Factory. So don't go too far because he'll be on here shortly. But until then, we just want y'all to do 4 favors for us. We're going to throw up them fours like Ric Flair. Just stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.